But going to the NBA Finals, I think the point you make about Jaylen Brown being better than Kyrie over the last 2-3 seasons, that's correct. But what do the last 2-3 seasons have to do with anything? We're talking about right now and what Kyrie and Luka have been doing this season. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, I will say right now in the playoffs, they're the better performing duo than Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Because 100% they are. Because Jaylen Brown, I think, has been the better player consistently throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Jason Tatum, if it wasn't for Jaylen Brown saving him in game one, Tatum first bricked the wide open three and then missed the fadeaway jumper, which I don't know why he even took that. I think that going into this series, and I know, Nick, the next topic we were going to go into was better right-hand man. I'm kind of going to go into this. This playoff run, Kyrie's been a better right-hand man to Luka than Brown has been to Tatum. Because I don't think Brown's a right-hand man. I think Brown is at times better than Tatum is.
Well, I mean, that point exactly. If he's better than Tatum at points, then he has to be the better right-hand man.
But he's not a right-hand man. He's not a right-hand man then.
But Kyrie Irving, these are in the NBA nowadays. You need 2 star players to win a championship, more or less. In recent years, that's what we've seen. We've seen Jokic, Murray. We've seen Giannis and Holiday and Middleton. There's going to be all-star and all-NBA level players on teams together. Okay. So Jaylen Brown is probably the best second-hand man in the league. When it comes to it, he's an all-NBA level talent. I thought he got snubbed this year. I thought he deserved to be on the team this year. In the conference finals, he averaged 29 points. I mean, Kyrie's averaging about 23 in this current playoff run. In my opinion, in this modern NBA, the way we see people score nowadays, 23 is good, but it's not great. And Jaylen Brown is averaging 26 or 25 this playoff run, with Jason Tatum averaging 26. Kyrie Irving has been great. And I think then you also have to look at the other end of the court where Jaylen Brown is going to be picking up one of the better offensive players on the other team. We're going to see him matched up against Luka a lot this series. And that kind of just tells you Kyrie Irving isn't even close to the same defender as Jaylen Brown.
What I'll say too, you're right, because Jaylen Brown is bigger and he has more size and he has more length. But yes, he is a better defender. I think though, what Kyrie Irving, what doesn't show up on any kind of stat sheet, what only shows up if you watch every game they play. The Kyrie being on this team has allowed Luka to become such more of an impactful defender and allowed Dallas as a team to be better defensively. No, it is 100% true, because before Kyrie got here, Luka was the only one on this team. Before Brunson really got to that level, Luka was the only one that could create offense for anybody else, create his own offense, do anything offensively for that matter. With Kyrie there, Luka on the ball, his ability to defend Anthony Edwards in that series, Luka has been doing a phenomenal job defensively. And that is, I think, in large part due to what Kyrie Irving has been able to provide. The leadership Kyrie brings, the experience that he brings to Luka Doncic. Jaylen Brown is better than Tatum a lot of the time, I think. So I don't call him a right-hand man. Kyrie, to me, is a right-hand man. The numbers, really, realistically, the stats you're bringing up point to Kyrie being more of a right-hand man than Jaylen Brown is.
Well, in the sense of a right-hand man, like you're saying, so who's the better duo? Would you say it's Jaylen and Tatum?
Right at this moment in time?
Yeah, like better. So you're saying better duo would be Tatum and Jaylen, and then right-hand man would be Kyrie because of how the role works. Okay, I guess I understand.
The question is right-hand man, so.
Well, then I wouldn't even bring up Jaylen Brown as the right-hand man. I'm bringing up my guy Derek White, who's been phenomenal this series. Yeah, I mean, he's averaging close to 20 points per game, which is only a few points less than Kyrie Irving. He's one of the best defenders, all-NBA second team this year for defense. He's kind of the perfect. I mean, JJ Redick has often called him the Albert of the team. He does everything you need him without being asked to do it. Yep. He does the little things, the dirty details that nobody wants to do. You're going to see Derek White just do them. He made some plays in that Pacers series that I haven't seen a guard do in a long time. I think he broke up a few lobs that he had no business getting to, and he still got to them, broke up those plays, and they went down and scored on the other end. So, I mean, in the conversation of right-hand man, who's going to be kind of supporting their stars the most, I think Derek White is better conversation than Jaylen Brown then.
I'm still picking Kyrie Irving over Derek White, though.
I mean, it's a little, in that sense.
Obviously, you're picking someone who's an all-star. He's won an NBA Finals over, Derek. I mean, I'm not saying Derek White's terrible, but
I'm just saying for the conversation of right-hand man, I think Derek White makes more sense than talking about Jaylen Brown.
But as a number 2, you would take Jaylen Brown?
100% over Kyrie Irving.
Because here's the thing about here's the thing about Kyrie Irving. You even saw this in Game 5 when obviously the game was already like blown past. Luka had 20 points in the first quarter. The rest of the game he had 16 points. In the second half, Kyrie went off and he had 36 points.
I'm saying
in Game 1, I think both of them had 40 points. So they can both if one person goes off and they know they're getting double teamed, they're gonna have the other guy being right there too.
And I'm telling
you, they can help each other.
Owen, Mike, and Nick, I'm telling you right now, because Boston did not play any close games realistically, other than the Indiana series, like consistently throughout the entire series. When they are in close games with Dallas, because they will be in close games with them, I trust Luka and Kyrie to close out a game more than I do Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think they're the more talented duo, but if you're talking about closing out a basketball game, what I saw Luka and Kyrie do time after time after time, and I'm not saying Brown and Tatum didn't do it either, but in that Minnesota series against defenders, we're talking about Jaden McDaniels being on Luka, they were getting switches on Gobert and stuff, I know. But you're playing a Minnesota team that has a lot of length. They're very good defensively, the best defensive team in the NBA. And Luka and Kyrie, time after time, said, boom, in your mouth, take it. And they won almost every single game that way. So I trust them more than I trust Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Well, you trust them more. But I mean, I think you look at a game like Game 4 of that series. How can you trust them more than Jaylen and Tatum? I mean, they were terrible that game. I think Kyrie had 13 points. I was watching that game.
I mean, that was because Karl-Anthony Towns actually started to play.
Lid. But I'm talking about Kyrie's offense that game. I'm just saying by watching Kyrie, it looked like there was a lid on the rim. I mean, just nothing was going for him. I didn't see Jaylen Brown have any games like that. Obviously, it's a one-off thing. It's going to happen. But I think if the Mavericks want any chance of beating the Celtics, they need to be perfect on offense, more or less, because their defense isn't going to be able to hold up.
I mean, they also have a very good bench with Derek Lively. That's his first name, right? Lively. Yeah, they also have him. PJ Washington has been playing well. Derek Jones has also been a three-corner specialist. Garland has also been very good too. So
I don't know where that came from. I don't know when Derek Jones could ever shoot, but all of a sudden in the playoffs, he's found his stroke. So we'll see if he can continue it, but that's been impressive.
It's not like one of those things that it is. I mean, obviously Kyrie and Luka are the best players on the team. That's obviously without a question, but they also have a pretty balanced team. So you can't really say like, okay, you can make the argument and say that if one of them is not playing their game, the game ended up is going to be going to the Celtics. Like, I understand that, but like, you still have to say that this team is balanced at the end of the day.
They 100% are.
I think the difference is where they kind of bring up, I don't think they're disrespecting the depth of the Mavs, but I think when you look at it on paper, it's a debate between who's the first best player of the series, who's the second, who's the third, who's the fourth. But after that, once you get Kyrie, Luka, Tatum, and Brown on the board, it's pretty simple. It's going to be Celtics from 5 down to 10 almost. You're going to have Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Al Horford. Like, the difference between who we have on our bench and who they're going to be bringing out is very different. I mean, PJ Washington in his first playoff series, Daniel Gafford in his first playoff run, all of these guys are new to this.
You could argue PJ over Al Horford. I'm just throwing that out there, but regardless.
I think when it comes to an NBA Finals, who would you rather have moving forward? I'd rather have PJ Washington. Who do I trust to make the right play in the moment with minutes on the clock?
Yeah,
I'm taking Al Horford. We saw him.
Well, obviously, because you have other options on your team. I mean, you have literally Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, Porzingis.
No, but he has the experience. Al Horford has the experience, though.
Yeah, I'm speaking to the experience.
I understand.
He's going to make the right play. He's going to make the right move. And, he's just a bit more of a higher IQ. You've seen in the Western Conference series, not so much just the Mavericks, but the Wolves were struggling a lot with foul trouble. And that's just kind of something that happens when you're inexperienced, young. You don't really understand the moment all the way. So, I mean.
The other thing that I want to say that it might screw over the Mavericks, Luka Doncic led the playoffs in turnovers.
He did.
So that's definitely going to screw them over because, I mean, Owen, I'm sorry that I have to say this. That's what screwed over the Celtics when they lost to the Warriors. Jason Tatum led the playoffs with turnovers. That's going to probably screw them over for the Mavericks series. So that's something that you also have to look forward. You have to look at it as well. So that could be a little bit of a problem as well. So you have to tie down with the turnovers. I mean, the Mavericks did have problems with the turnover rate. I know in Game 3, I think in like the first quarter, they had like 10 turnovers or something like that. So they need to fix that up when they go up against the Celtics because you're going to be going up against Drew Holiday. You're going to be going up against Derek White. They're going to be going up against Porzingis and Horford, all defensive players. So,
Nick, are we throwing out predictions here or no?
why not? Let's do it.
All right. What are yours?
Okay, so we can do who's going to win and how many games, and screw it to have fun with it. Finals MVP.
Okay.
Okay. So I've been since the beginning of the playoffs has started. I've had the Boston Celtics win the NBA Finals. I'm going to still stick with that. I'm going to say that the Boston Celtics are going to win in 6 games. And my Finals MVP, as much as I want Jason Tatum to get his chance, I'm going to give it to Jaylen Brown. I know it seems pretty basic, but that's going to be mine.
I you know what, I can agree with it. And actually, Owen, you go first.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, obviously a little biased, but I think
Celtics in 4.
No, it's not going to be a sweep. It's not going to be a sweep. Do I think there's a chance they could sweep them? Yes. I think there's a small chance that they could sweep the Mavericks, 100%. I mean, they beat them by an average score of 19 this season.
Okay, excuse me. There were 2 games.
Yeah. Well, Luka hasn't beaten them in the last 2 seasons, so it's not just 2 games, it's 4 games.
Okay, last year they didn't even make the playoffs and they didn't have Kyrie Irving.
I'm so sorry.
Great. Well, they did have Kyrie for the second half of the season.
Oh, and I'll give you the prediction, but dude, come on. There is no shot.
I'm just saying there's definitely a chance. When you look at their roster, the Celtics are way better.
We're getting swept.
I mean, they beat them by an average score of 19 points, 28-9 in this regular season. I mean, those are things you have to look at. The matchups. I mean, Luka Doncic had his games as well.
And one of those games, Washington and Gafford weren't a part of the team.
Okay, but one of those games they were a part of.
I understand, but I'm saying that.
And it was the one they lost by 28.
Well, that was before, I mean, that has to be before they started gelling.
Before they started gelling, who cares? They lost by 28 points.
The circumstances are different now, though, between March and between when did they play the first time? Like in January or like earlier on in the year, November?
Yeah, January and March.
Yeah, January and March. Okay, whatever. Regardless, they're not going to sweep. That's all I'm saying.
I was just saying, there's definitely a possibility of them sweeping. I mean, when you look at the Celtics team, the things that they've been doing this season, it's this hate against the Celtics. This playoffs run has just been all narrative based. It's all personal. They're just significantly better than everyone else. We can all just agree with that. They've lost 2 games. They're going to win this series in 5 or 6. It's going to be pretty easy. Jason Tatum's going to win Finals MVP. I'm not sweating.
Okay.
Not sweating. Okay.
Mike, you go ahead. I'm gonna go.
All right. So, just for you to be humbled once in your life, I'm gonna say Mavs in 7. Kyrie step back to win it. And I give Doncic the MVP.
History repeats itself, huh? You're gonna have Kyrie Irving going
all over again.
Well, shut up. No, we're talking about 2016. We're talking about 2016 when Kyrie made the 3 at Steph Curry's face. This time he's going to do it at Tatum's face.
Nick, do I have Mike? You're done.
Yeah.
Nick, do I have permission to go on? Like before I give my prediction, can I please go on a rant at Owen for a second?
Go right ahead, buddy.
Because I'm really like, okay. Oh well, it's all been narrative based about how the Celtics are being portrayed in this playoff run. They played Miami without Jimmy Butler, and I'm not saying they weren't better. Even if these guys were healthy, they're still better. But this thing about, they've only lost 2 games. They played Miami without Jimmy Butler. They played Cleveland without Jared Allen and D. Mitch for half the series. They played Indiana without Halliburton for half the series. I know Indiana still played well, but I'm throwing out the facts here. If they win this year, this is a bigger Mickey Mouse fucking cakewalk ring than the Lakers in 2020. I don't want to hear anything about it. They have not faced a single team fully healthy all playoffs. I know Porzingis has been out, but regardless, if you play 3 teams, nobody's fully healthy. You cannot tell me that's like, that's a viable playoff run there. That's a tough road to get to. No, I don't want to hear it. When people try to downgrade the Lakers ring or the Bucks ring because the Sixers didn't make it, like I've heard so many people try to downgrade other championship runs. This one. And also, even mind this, 2015 for the Warriors. That one doesn't get downgraded. Kyrie and Love weren't even playing in the damn series. This one, I give them credit for winning what they had to win. They beat who was in front of them. But this cannot be made into like, it's just narrative. No, it's looking at the facts. They didn't even play anybody yet. And regardless, now I'll give my prediction. I am going with Mike. I'm going Mavs in 7, mainly because I want to annoy Owen. But like, I also genuinely, because like him saying this, there's a chance of a sweep. There's no chance of a sweep, guys.
There's a chance of a sweep.
There is not a chance. If you
There's
guys
a chance. I mean, Luka Doncic has never played in NBA Finals. We can say all these things about he has that Mamba mentality, but we saw what Jason Tatum did in 2022. He was terrible. I mean, there's a very good chance.
Tatum's not as good as Luka. That's why.
All right, but Luka's never shown he can do this in the finals. He's going to step in a TD Garden. It's going to be a different atmosphere, something he's never experienced before. How is he going to react to that? That's something I want to see.
He literally won a European championship when he was 19 years old.
I'll tell you how he's going to react.
Not the same. Let's be honest.
European basketball is much more different.
European basketball is harder than this shit. They don't like.
He literally said it's a lot easier to score in NBA than it is.
That's because there's because of the defensive 3 seconds rule. It's nothing to do with the talent of the
European
NBA.
basketball is literally like European soccer.
It also has to do
it's literally going up against their country.
It also has to do with the fact that the NBA is the softest league in the world, and they call fouls for you poking somebody. In FIBA basketball, that shit doesn't fly. Guys don't jump into the fouls and do all that stuff. FIBA basketball
he's stepping into Boston Garden. He's going to Boston Garden. Let's remind ourselves he's going to Boston Garden. He's going to Boston of all places. This isn't LA. This isn't Dallas. This isn't Houston. This is Boston.
I get it. He's going to the less superior Garden. I get it. Dallas is going to win in 7. Dallas is going to win in 7.
Oh man! All I know is our Garden doesn't have any singers banners up in the rafters. We have championships, not Billy Joel and Harry Styles.
Dallas is going to win the series in 7. I think Luka's going to win MVP. I'm going with the same thing Mike did. I think that while yes, there are arguments to be made on both sides of why Boston on paper has the better roster. We've seen teams that have the better roster lose before. We saw Miami lose to Dallas in 2011 when Miami clearly had the better roster overall. I genuinely think role players in this series for Dallas are going to step up. Guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Derek Lively has been the best. I think that could argue the best big man in the entire postseason so far with not just his scoring, but defensively the energy and the hustle plays he's made. Stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Derek Lively has been phenomenal. Second highest plus minus of any rookie in their first playoff run ever behind Manu Ginobili. The only 2 guys ever to have a plus 100 plus minus in a playoff run as a rookie. Derek Lively's been phenomenal. The contrast of him and Daniel Gafford coming in and out. Kyrie Irving, he's been here before. He's the most experienced player on either side. While Al Horford has been in a lot of playoff series, Kyrie's been in more NBA finals. I think that Kyrie Irving has, Kyrie Irving's been in a situation when he was down and then was able to come back. So I think that Dallas, PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., I think Dallas will get it in 7. My head, as I'm saying this, my head is saying, well, you're really going to pick against White, Holiday, Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, all these guys. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm picking Dallas in 7.
There you go.
You know the Celtics are like watching the town right now, just getting amped. Just kidding.
Remember the last time that they made championship shirts? It was against the Warriors and they ended up losing.
Yeah.
They made a shirt that says Steph Curry's wife can't cook. They probably said they started making shirts that Kyrie sucks or something like that. So
Yeah,
he
does.
a little deja vu right there. But
it's going to be an exciting.
I'm pretty sure every fan base makes T-shirts when their team's in the championship and sell them outside.
Oh yeah, obviously, but they just want to pick the Celtics, so they just want to attack them. So
I've missed Owen. I'm just going to say that.
Everyone has this narrative against the Celtics. Nobody wants to see Jason Tatum win. If the roles were reversed, everyone would be loving Jason Tatum and they'd be hating Luka Doncic. It's just how it works when you're.
If the 76ers didn't pick Markelle Fultz and pick Jason Tatum, everyone would have loved Jason Tatum winning.
Yes, 100%. Well, actually, maybe not. Everyone hates Philly. But it's all narrative. People just don't want to see Boston win. They don't want to see them stand alone at the top with 18 banners. It's just something that would make their blood boil. And it's a tough reality. It's what's going to happen. They're going to kill these guys, and they're going to win 18.
So if the Celtics win, would you take Tatum over the bump of Doncic and best player?
He's already have him above Doncic as best player, better player. I mean, there's 2 sides of the court, Tino. There's 2 sides of the court.
I hate this guy.
Doncic is obviously amazing. He's amazing when he plays on offense, but you got to look at the other end. He's a cone. Jason Tatum's one of the league's
He's
best.
not a cone. Now that he
All
has
right, in comparison
and
to Jason Tatum, he's a cone.
Well, Luka Doncic in his 6 seasons, he's made 5 All NBA first teams.
That's great. Jason Tatum has 5.
That's great. Okay.
Jason Tatum has 5.
Yeah, but he's played more seasons. 1 more season.
Okay, they have the same amount of All NBAs, 1 more season played, and he's a significantly better defender. In my book, that's a better basketball player.